I think so much of this fear the left has is fake. Is like it's real fear, but the cause of it is fake. So I'll tell you guys. Many of you maybe have heard the story, but we'll talk about it now. So not this past weekend, the weekend before, I go and skate in DC at Freedom Plaza. Nothing happens. Just literally skate around, hang out. Apparently, some like woke crew got angry and started sending messages throughout the skate community about how I was brought there by some pros. I wasn't. I went there, got there before they were there. And it's like, of course I know who they are. They're famous pro skaters. And so I was like, oh, wow, look, these pro skaters. And so apparently it was a big deal. And there are messages being sent around. I'm getting texts from like pros. They were like, yo, like it's a lot of flack going on. Like people are mad that you were there. And I'm like, nobody said anything to me. They were posting in forums lies, saying like everybody stayed on the other side of the park. What are you talking? I was sitting alongside 15 other people. And we were chilling. There was a dog and the dog pissed on the ground and where I was skating. And these things happen. And so I'm like, my guys, it's not real. We go skate all over the place. You know what the only thing I see? We went to the opening, the Hagerstown Skate Park. Maryland, fist bumps, high fives. People were like, whoa, oh crap, yo, Tim, cool to see you. Yeah, let's skate. We went up to one indoor skate park in Altoona, Pennsylvania, and I walk in and what do I hear? They're coming for your income tax. And I'm like, these guys watching income.
I can verify I was there that day.
It was cool. Yeah, we hung out. And the dudes were like, oh wow, cool to see you. And they were like, dude, skateboarders are like anti-establishment people. But all of a sudden now I got these industry people being like, bro, we're taking a lot of heat. Like people are really freaking out about what's going on. And I said, no, they aren't, dude. This is not true. And they were like, well, look, man, like it's getting bad. And then I said, I'm going to go back on Saturday. I'm going to tell everybody to be there. And I'm telling you, nothing's going to happen. And what happened? A bunch of people showed up. We skated. We hung out. People took pictures. I gave out skateboards. Locals gave me fist bumps. And we had a good time. Then someone told us about this little spot called the Big Board in DC that defied the lockdowns. And they were like, you should go eat there because they told Muriel Bowser to F you when she was trying to lock everything down. And then I said to everybody, okay, that's where we're going. And we packed the place. It was just like every table filled, this whole venue. That's what it's all about. Not only did we prove that the fear these people in skateboarding had over, oh no, everyone's going to be mad you're there. Oh, not true. Never happened. It was a lie to scare you into not speaking up and being yourself. And I had no problem showing up, skating around and bringing Taylor Silverman. And Taylor, of course, is the one who called out biological males competing against females against her. And she gets tons of threats and hate. And we announced we'll be in a public square by ourselves, well, with our fans or whatever and our friends, but like skating around. Any one of these whack jobs could have come up to us and done anything they wanted. Nothing happened. Not a single hater showed up. No violence, nothing but happiness and high fives. And then with that gathering and people met each other and talked to each other, hung out and laughed and had a good time, we also told everybody to go and hang out at the Big Board in DC to support businesses that stood up for what they believed in, creating nothing but massive positivity without a modicum of hate or resistance. People need to stop believing the lies. The woke people are like, we'll cancel you. What's the worst that's going to happen? What's the worst going to happen?
Yeah, that's why I want to know what the money is behind groups like Antifa, because I don't think it's organic. I don't think it's really there. I think you have to have some type of funding or push to get, you don't think so?
I don't think you need funding to get a bunch of unemployed whack jobs to go be whack jobs. You need some because organizational power is tough. Mm-hmm. But it shows you that if there's nothing to target, there's nothing to target. If I announced we were doing a legitimate event, speakers, tents and everything, they could stop that. They'd call the city, they'd make complaints. But when I said, I'm just going to be standing there, not a single hater showed up. Not a single complaint was made. We skated around, did some tricks. I did a kind of a bunk forward flip because it was like windy and cold. Someone filmed it. So they put up a video on Instagram. Actually, let me shout the dude on Instagram out. I think I have it on my phone.
That's pretty cool. Were you still going to do a skate channel? I remember a while back you talked about it.
We're working on it. Let me... it just disappeared.
Do you have this kind of feeling of community where you're from? Do you think there's a way to help facilitate all of that?
I think everybody has their own talents. So where I'm from, I don't really feel feel it much anywhere. I mean, there's not many people working towards that solution. I want to do a shout out to Black Pegasus, who's a hip hop artist out of Colorado. this Christmas, he went around to Christmas malls, and he's been practicing freestyling. So him and his partner Don. So they walk up to random people, and they just say, "Hey, how you doing? You want a candy cane?" They take a candy cane out. There's like a little $5 bill on it, and then they say, "Give me 3 words. I'm going to rap a song for you," just out of the blue. And then they rap a song for him, and then sometimes they give him like a stack of ones or something like that. But that's connecting to people, completely apolitical. But I believe everybody has their own talent to do that. Maybe you sew, maybe you play music, whatever that is. That's the answer to me to break away from what we're seeing.
Right.
The Ballistic Boy on Instagram. Everybody follow the Ballistic Boy. He produced a video from the quote unquote unevent we did. And there's just happy people standing around taking pictures, people skating and doing tricks, fist bumps, no hate. And that was to prove a point that I could show up in public with a week's lead time. Everybody can know nothing bad's going to happen.
I got mixed feelings about it because it feels like going into a bear's den and then standing there and being like, see, the bear didn't attack me. I'm fine. But like, it's not, I don't think it's sustainable.
What bear though? That's the point. There was no bear there. You're calling it a bear's den. And I'm like, bro, we're going to go in. We're gonna turn the flashlight and show you there's not a bear in here.
Not a bear's den, but it's like saying, hey, all bears, I'm going to be here on this time and this day.
They're not bears. And
They're not bears.
And you shouldn't live. I mean, some of them are pretty chunky.
There's
but they don't move like bears.
There's squirrels. Okay. And what happens? Can a squirrel attack you and bite you? All these things, yes.
They give you rabies.
Do you want to, run into a cave full of angry rabid squirrels? You don't. But you know what happens when you yell around squirrels? They run away.
Yeah.
Right. It's just that I don't know if it's sustainable to dox yourself and other people a week beforehand to 500,000 people. And
providing our assassination coordinates.
Yeah, exactly. Like if we did that every week for 10 years, I would imagine one of those weeks something bad could it's just not a sustainable practice.
Maybe. But when we were in Nashville and we wanted to go play at John Rich's Honky Tonk and the death threats came in, they said, we can't do it. And then I said, I don't care. I'll do it anyway. Nothing's going to happen. And they were like, but there are people here. If something does happen, there's kids who could get hurt. I said, okay, fine. It's like your venue. I did this to prove that point. These people are all talk, all bark, no bite.
I used to notice that in LA too. Like I was like, I'm tired of this. People, they would say in LA, people are fake. And I knew they weren't. So I had to get through these people. I just decided, let's get rid of the pretense. Go straight eye contact to eye contact. Every human I would meet, I would talk to them like this, as if they were my best friend. And people would respond as if they were my best friend when you give them that energy. So yeah. I think you can get through to every human. It was 100% it would work 100% of the time. And then, but what I realized is you can't be friends with everybody. You got about 60 people. After that, it starts to drive you insane.
Well, so you shouldn't live your life in fear. Like I refuse to do that. And you talked about how Tim's doxing himself. I mean, people know where we live, right? The address here has been leaked many times, but we've been swatted many times. So they already know. So what's stopping them from doing anything? I mean, it's really based on your approach as a human being and how you interact and what you bring into your own life. And I just refuse to be in that kind of fear mindset myself.
I agree. I don't want to live in fear. But I don't think it doesn't mean if you decide not to do certain things, it doesn't mean that it's because you're afraid or a coward. Like some things technically or mathematically are not a good function that you want to be involved with.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you're afraid. You're just doing the math, looking at the odds, looking at the risk. Mm-hmm.
But if they could get you there, they could get you here, right? Because they know.
I'll give you an example, though, of Tim, showing the boundaries. Remember when Andy No, in my opinion, unnecessarily put himself undercover the second time? He had already came out with this book on Antifa, then he went undercover again. And you guys covered it, remember? And Tim, I believe, and I agreed with this, said that was an unnecessary risk. So I think, you guys did the risk. I think you have a great point. You got to look at the risk reward. I don't think Tim's going to do it every week, but the courage, you've got to show some courage. I think for everybody watching this isn't just for Tim or Ian or anybody else. We've all got to have courage. The history of this country is founded on people with courage. I mean, they tried to tax tea, 3 cents a pound of tea, and they went nuts. I want peacefulness, but you have to have courage to stand up for, and courage can be just like what we're doing now, just talking.
I respect Andy tremendously, and I think what he did was tremendously brave. Yeah. I just felt that the risk versus reward was extremely high risk with really low reward. It was a local fringe Antifa meeting. It wasn't a big prominent one. It was like a handful of just lunatics, and then he went right into the middle of their group. What we were doing was going to a place I had already been and had no issues at, telling my friends to show up there a week in advance, and then showing up, and nothing happened. I didn't say like I'm going to go find Antifa's house and go inside of it,
Right.
and we talked. Andy and I talked about it. I apologize for being crass and everything, but I still think it was unnecessary risk. I respect him wanting to cover this stuff and get more information. I do. I understand it, but we were basically saying, hey, we skate. We're allowed to be here. I live here. I live in this area. I'm going to skate here, and I proved that a lot of this is just nonsense. And I got to be honest. I'm willing to bet if Andy No announced he was going to be at Freedom Plaza, nobody would have shown up to harass him. It would not have happened.
Yeah, it does seem like it's more about the events. It's more about the the intentions that are being blockaded and stressed, not the people themselves. It's almost irrelevant who the people are.
Why do you think it was different with the Nashville show, where there was
Someone else owned the venue.
Oh, so
I'd have still gone.
So they put pressure on the venue owners or whoever the business is.
Well, John Rich owned it. And
was it his? Okay.
It was his place. And he said, why don't we go jam? I said, let's do it. And we announced it. And then they got some suspicious calls. A guy showed up. Some other stuff happened. And he was like, we can't do it. This is the problem. They can use this as an attack vector. They can't use it against me.
Right.
It might work against your traditional run-of-the-mill person who's like, look, I can't risk the security stuff. My attitude is like, dude, I'm not the one, when Antifa goes around throwing Molotov cocktails, I'm not the one who threw it. That's not on me, and you can't put that on me. If I'm going to exist and live in this space, I will do it. And if a crazy person is crazy, that's something for the government, for the police to deal with. And then to the extent that we have to defend ourselves, we will too. So when we open our cafe, I'm not going to put up signs in the window saying, please don't hurt us. I'm going to put up signs in the window saying, Molan Labe, America first.
Yeah.
Don't tread on me. And everyone's going to know exactly who we are and what we believe. And maybe they'll want to say nasty things about us. Don't know, don't care. I'm not, no external factor is going to come in. And look, I didn't run a business during the lockdowns, but I absolutely would have been one of the businesses saying F you to the machine, just like the big board did in DC. Shout out to them again, because that's the story. I guess they said, no way, we're not shutting down. I done the same thing. And see, here's the thing. It's easy for me to say because we've got funds. For these smaller businesses that actually did it, that shows you who's got balls. These guys do.
Yeah.
Big board, by the way, open till midnight. If you guys want to get in there and get some food.
If you're in DC, that's where you should be eating. Because I got the wings were good. I got the Kung Pao wings. It was really good. Yeah, it was really, really good, actually.
I'm hungry again.
This is like once as you get more famous as an entertainer, your role becomes like Andy No's situation. He used to be able to go under cover because no one knew who he was. Now he's serving a different function. But you're right that we need to be brave. But like I used to do gatherings and meetups and events out in the open. We'd all be like, hey, on the 7th of July, we're all going to meet in Washington Square Park. We'd get like 50 people would go. We'd all have cameras. I never thought in my mind like danger. That never crossed my mind, but I was an unknown person at that time. I don't know if it matters how famous you are.
I don't know. But I was thinking as well, it's also like if they know like Fox News is going to be there, if they know CNN's going to be there, then they're more likely to go out and do these things and protest and create like counter protests and everything like that. But if it's just Tim going to go hang out, I don't think that they're going to, they're not going to show up. There's no reason to.
We announced, Phil was going to be there. Libby Emmons was there.
Oh,
Taylor
cool.
Silverman was there.
She moved, didn't she? Did she move from
Libby?
New York? I think I saw an
Yeah.
article.
Yeah, she did. She did.
Because
Rural
every
now.
time she comes on, I'm like, how are you in New York with, things are getting serious.
know.
Where did she move to again?
I don't know.
Okay.
She'll have to say.
Okay.
But Libby went rural.
Wow.
No, I
Nice
think
job, Lib.
the way we described it was, if you create an event, they'll attack the venue. They'll use the government against you. If you just make it an un-event, there's literally nothing they can do.
Right.
Because if they show up to protest, I'll be like, oh, you guys are going to
Protest
protest
what?
here? I'll go skate across the street.
Yeah, protest what?
Exactly.
You
Good
might
luck.
be onto something. Do you think that would work in Portland?
Yes.
Wow. You might be onto something.
Why
So-
Portland?
Well, I mean, isn't that the heart or wherever?
Rose City.
Antifa
But this is basically what they do.
Yeah.
They march around randomly.
Totally.
And so what are the cops going to do? You can't stand here. Okay, we'll stand over there.
Yeah.
So obviously, though, when like Patriot Prayer marches around, they fight with them, But my thing is like, I didn't set up an event to protest anything.
Yeah.
Or to
skate.
declare anything.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm going to be here and I'm going to assert cultural presence in the space. Right. And then we gave out like 30 or some odd boards. And I told these guys, I will flood the DC Metro with 1,000 free skateboards. I will give every single little kid in this metro area a free skateboard. every skating kid. And then every little kid will be riding around on a step-on-sneck and find out board, and all the woke people can cry about it. And then you know what we can do? Because we're opening this cafe, second floor is going to be skate and game shop. We will sell our boards at dirt prices, cost. And you know, I know a lot of people are, you know, that's bad for other shops or whatever. Yeah, but the other shops are woke. There's like one or two other shops, and I don't hear good things about them. And so I'm like, well, you know what? If these are the people who ride for these shops, then I hope they go out of business. And that's competition, baby. You get woke, you go broke. I'll open up my shop. We'll sell all of our stuff as dirt cheap as possible. And then let's see how long these woke shops can last.
True.
Let's compete.
Are you going to sell wheels and trucks too?
Oh, of course. Yeah, everything. Well, we're not going to make our own. Making your own wheels is actually pretty easy because it's all like you find a company that does urethane and then you get it special formula and labeling. Skate decks are relatively similar. You find a company, you find the shape and the sizes you want, and then you get the graphics put on them. So we'll have all our own stuff, but we'll probably just sell your typical skate stuff, and we'll sell it for dirt. We'll sell it at cost. We'll pass those savings on to the regular people. Now distributors are going to get mad. A lot of these warehouses might refuse us service, being like, no, because you're gonna hurt our other business. Because if shops go out of business because they're only buying for you, then we lose sales and things like that. I've seen it happen in the past.
Yeah, what I noticed that when you look at around at stores, you'll never see like, well, I can't say never, but like a discrepancy in the cost of an item from Target to Walmart to mom and pop, like not that much. Or maybe I'm wrong about that, but are there like cabals that are price fixing behind the scenes, like Hasbro?
Well, it's not about price fixing. It's like if there are 10 skate shops in one area, and one of them goes to the warehouse and they're all buying from the same distributor. It's a big warehouse that has everything, and then they sell it to the shops. They might not do it the same way anymore now with the internet and Amazon and all that stuff. But if one of these shops starts selling boards for $1 over cost compared to like $5 over cost, the other shops do. The other shops start being unable to compete, start buying less from the warehouse, complain to the warehouse being like, yeah, this one shop's just gutting us. Then they'll say, we cut off one shop or we lose 5 customers. It's not necessarily price fixing. But I don't know, it might be illegal. I've heard stories, you know. But I'm down. We'll see what we can do.
I think that's the answer, what you're doing right there.
Yeah. It's literally like just making, you know, the Marxists always say everything's politics. Well, then let's make things not politics. Let's do things that aren't politics.
Or
let's make music that isn't politics music.
You know, or it is. Like, you're going to come to a skate shop with a big old Gadsden flag flying above it.
Marxists win if everything's politics.
I'll put it this
They
way.
want it to be that way.
True.
We'll have a big old Gadsden flag on our skate shop, but when you walk through those doors, underneath that Gadsden flag, followed by a Molan Labe flag, you're going to get a premium quality pro skateboard gear for cheaper.
Good coffee, too.
With coffee. Yeah, you get a free coffee with every board.
Yeah.
Free coffee. Heavy cream included because we're keto.
Yeah.
But why would any mother, father, or skater be like, I'd rather go to that woke skate shop where everything's 50% more expensive because I'm woke. No, they're going to be like, look, man, dude, the board's a board. I can't afford it.
True.
And then when they're riding around on a step-on-sneck and find out board and their woke friends are like, why are you riding Tim Pool's board? Like, because it costs $20, dude.
Right.
And it's pro quality.
Yeah.
Shaq did a very similar thing with sneakers.
That's right.
Because he talked about how a mother came to him and was complaining about how his sneakers were, I think, $100 or $150, and that was unaffordable. Mm-hmm. So he then worked with, I forgot what company he worked with, but he made his own shoe line, and he made sneakers $20. And then he was able to get a huge chunk of the market and make a lot of people happy, and was able to sell a lot more shoes than a lot of the other competitors that he was going up against, because he decided to price them out fairly. Because a lot of the times when you're paying for a product, you're paying for the branding, you're paying for the marketing, you're paying for all the other bullcrap associated with it, which is now associated with the ESG social credit score system, which is meant to indoctrinate you, which is meant to, of course, divide you and to, of course, eventually conquer you. But if you're able to do the opposite of that, let's do it. I'm in.
You know, I don't have Disney anymore.
Oh, Stefan Mulberry also did I want to shout him out because he was around where I grew up. He was a basketball player. He also did a very similar thing. He made his own sneakers, his own clothing line at a very affordable price compared to his competitors. So shouts out to Stefan Mulberry. Awesome guy.
I don't have Disney anymore because ever since the Uyghur Muslim scandal that happened, I said I would never sign it back up. So I had already had a year subscription. It lapsed. But the thing is, I don't expect people to cancel their Netflix, their HBO, or whatever. because people want entertainment. It's a normal thing people buy. We just need to create something to compete with it so that people are like, I'd rather not watch that. It is very difficult. It is very easy to open a skate shop relative to starting a global media company with subscription service to compete with the likes of the 30 million or whatever Netflix subscribers. But that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about doing. So I think the brick and mortar shop is probably the faster route towards building culture. We obviously with Cast to Cast, Salty House in the Inverted World, Pop Culture Crisis, we here at Timcast are working on creating media products. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
It's hard to do because, with an online product, let's say Pop Culture Crisis, we need more. We want more people to watch that, talk about pop culture and stuff, and have that influence exist. But this is an internet space, meaning there's no location. You just literally have to create the audience. With a physical location, you've got natural flow. So for the building we have now, we open a coffee shop, revenue's basically guaranteed. We can afford to operate it, and we can make just enough money to keep it running. Skate shop and everything as well. And then we can easily make more and keep doing it, replicate it all over the country, maybe even in other countries, and then have a space where when you walk in to buy a coffee, you look on the TV and what do you see playing as you're ordering a coffee? It's Luke Rudkowski ranting about Klaus Schwab. Imagine that. Imagine there were 1,000 coffee shops and they were like as ubiquitous as Starbucks. But instead of going in and seeing CNN on TV, you see Steven Crowder or Sticks X and Hammer or Viva and Barnes or Middle MAGA.
Yeah.
And then regular customers aren't going to, they're going to walk in and be like, oh, what's this? And they're going to be sipping their coffee, be like, oh, that's cool. And that's how we gain access for more people and more cultural spaces. That's the plan, man.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll franchise it. Maybe that'll be the plan.
And also competitions, just like skateboarding competitions. Stefan Marbury used to have basketball competitions in Coney Island that I used to play in. And he would get the funds from a lot of his bigger kind of companies and the cheaper sneakers he would kind of give out there, and then pay for this competition, pay for this larger festival. You got free sneakers, you got free jerseys, and he would always come through the community and give a lot of the stuff out. And I remember being a young kid in Brooklyn at the time, being a part of that, thinking how cool that someone in the NBA is coming here and giving back to the community more than all these other people who, of course, essentially sell out and forget where they came from. So, Stefan Marbury was awesome. Shouts him out. I want to shout him out again because of the impact he had on me playing basketball in New York City.
Yeah, I didn't know you played hoops.
Yeah, I love basketball, and that was a big part of my life when I was very young. It's a great way of staying out of trouble, especially in New York City.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.